Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, you know this literally does not work. Let's get open for business this Monday morning on another short week, we should say. Actually, it's really not a short week. It's still a 7-day turnaround. But everything will be sped up. Tomorrow, the team will be back on the field getting ready for Saturday night's 8:15 kickoff if you're on the East Coast like I am, in Los Angeles against the Rams. Wow. Wow. We are one game away from the NFC Championship game. One step away. This team that was left for dead 9 weeks ago. It's unbelievable. Things just seem to fall in place. Sometimes in life, things happen and you look back and say, how did that happen? How did these things fit together? How did we come across Amari Cooper? How did that happen? How did we get lucky and drafted Dak Prescott thinking that he was going to be a backup quarterback for a few years under Tony Romo? And this guy ends up winning 30-some games. How is it that all of these forces and you think about, in my mind, think about things that happen in your life. If you did something slightly different, everything could be totally different. I got accepted to JMU and Virginia Tech. The way I chose, I took the two envelopes and threw them up in the air, and I grabbed one. JMU. That's where I ended up going to school. But what if, instead, I had grabbed that other envelope and went to Virginia Tech? Would I be still sitting here talking to you right now? Would Michael and Kayla still be my kids? Things are there that are life-changing every single moment. We just don't know which direction it's going to point us in. Had the Cowboys thought a number one is too much, they might not have made that trade. Maybe they went with Golden Tate instead. And we're in the off season right now, trying to figure out, is Dak Prescott the quarterback for us? Do we need to blow this whole thing up? We just don't know. But there's so many things that have to go right to get you into this position. So many things are falling into place. With the exception of Alan Hearns, and my God. Alan Hearns said that the bones went through the skin. Horrific injury. But with the exception of that, this team is pretty healthy. Healthy as you can be at this time of year. I mean, that's a relative term. Everybody is banged up, bruised up, needing to get some kind of surgery at the end of the season to clean up an elbow or, take care of the back or knee and things like that. But they are well enough that they can go on the field. I don't know that anybody's 100% at this time of the year. It's really who's hurt the least. But you think about right now our offensive line. Oh. Excuse me. Still fighting this cold. I hope it's gone before next weekend because I'm going to be yelling I'm going to be jumping around like Philly 500. But think about our offensive line, the way they played this past week. Zeke Elliott, 5+ yards a carry, 137 yards. Dak Prescott sacked only once. Zach Martin, the way you saw him go off the field, did you think he would be there and not give up a pressure 2 weeks later? Tyron Smith with the knee brace on the arm. That guy's there balling. Connor Williams, the rookie, and I said I think the best thing that happened to Connor Williams was him actually getting hurt and being able to step back, to calm down, to watch some other people, to get back to playing with technique as opposed to up here chess games. That guy, he looks like the second round pick that we thought he was going to be. Joe Looney, who quietly has played damn good. And I tell you what, you better not mess with Joe Looney. Don't ever get between Joe Looney and a donut. You might just get your ass whipped. I wonder if it's kind of like the water boy with Joe Looney. You know, when people say stuff about water, how he go off. I bet you Joe Looney imagines those defensive linemen, they're taking his donuts. That's why he's kicking their ass. You better not mess with Joe Looney's donuts. But Lyle Collins, that gets scrutinized a lot and everything else, quietly, he's facing great competition. Quietly, this offensive line is playing their best football last week. When you want to be peaking in the playoffs, it was hard because when you root for another team in your division, it's like literally kissing your sister. It just hurts. But in my mind, I was thinking of two things. Two. One, let Philadelphia go down there and help soften the way against New Orleans. I don't know that you really want to go to New Orleans with them having a week off in New Orleans. Well, you do want to go to New Orleans because the crab, all the shrimp, the gumbo, the poor boys. You want to go to New Orleans for all that stuff. And Trent, you know what? If the Cowboys meet, might consider coming down there and stuff. DeMario, can you hook a brother up with some tickets? I know I'll be on the other side, but call me. But let the Eagles go down there and help soften them up a little bit. Get them beat up a little bit around in there. Scrap and fight a little bit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like in the South Pacific in the war. You know how they get the ships out? They just bombard, pound them first, try and soften it up before the troops landed. Maybe the Eagles can soften that beach up for us. And that's not to say that the Rams are going to be a pushover, but I look at the Rams and say, I think the Rams peaked. They're still great, don't get me wrong, but Jared Goff, the first half of the season was like the polar opposite of Dak Prescott. You were talking about Dak Prescott being garbage down in here, and you were looking at Jared Goff being an MVP candidate. But the last 6 weeks of Jared Goff looked like Dak Prescott with more turnovers the first half of the season. It hasn't been that good. And that defense that paid so much money for, that front line, that Aaron Donald, he's worth every penny and more. But that defense isn't really shutting down offenses like they were. So it's going to be Imano versus Imano in the trenches. That's where this game's going to be won. But there's so many storylines with this game because you got Wade Phillips over there. You remember Wade? Remember Wade was the head coach even though Jason Garrett was the offensive coordinator, assistant head coach getting paid like the head coach? Wade had his revenge on us. He beat us directly with Denver. Wade's got the ring. Wade's on the other side of the fence. So you got Jason Garrett versus Wade Phillips. The guy's job he took from him. You don't think Wade Phillips is going to want to win this game? You don't think Wade Phillips is going to try and dial some stuff up? Try and teach the young punk that took my job? You got Sean McVay, the new generation of coach. The coach that took a quarterback who didn't look like anything near a NFL quarterback. Jared Goff. You listen to what some of the experts out there were saying, is like, he can't throw the ball 25 yards down the field. He can't hit receivers. He doesn't know jack. But Sean McVay went in there, found out what he did well, slowed it down, got it so that way he is a good, really good quarterback. A guy who's like a Chris Richard, who's passionate, has fire, that's a leader of men, that gets those people playing behind him. He changed the narrative from the Rams because he took a 4-12 team and made them a playoff team the next year. That's the new generation. Then we got Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, the longest tenured coach without a Super Bowl ring. More calm and even-keeled. You don't see him animated on the sidelines. You don't see him animated in the press conference. You'll never see him up there saying, the Bears are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. You'll never see him say, playoffs? Are you kidding me, playoffs? You'll never hear him say, you play to win the game. You will only hear Jason Garrett say, well, when you go out there, you want to be able to compete in things, we'll go back and we'll look at the film, and in those situations, we'd like to do better. And it's like, somebody hand me a fork so I can stick it in my eye. That's Jason Garrett. It's what Jerry Jones wants. So we'll see if it's the young gun or that old guard that gets up on top. But make no mistake, Sean McVay is a tactician. Sean McVay has a photographic memory. He knows the Dallas Cowboys. He knows every single player, everything. He's working on it. Been working on it. He's going to be ready. He's going to make sure the team's ready. Here's what he said during a conference call. Forgive me, I'm not great at reading out loud, so, and it's, you see how little that is. I can't find my glasses, and I need to go back to the eye doctor and get some new ones. I think, first of all, when you look at Zeke, I think he's similar to Todd, one of the most complete backs in the league, extremely productive. I think he's got the ability to go through you or go around you with speed. He's got a lot more involved in the passing game this year. I think he's truly a complete back, and you could see that a lot of times what they do is predicated on him getting a bunch of those touches. Then I think Dak Prescott is an incredible competitor. Sorry, my eyes are like going. When you talk about the quarterback draw on the 3rd and long in the wild card game, what a gutsy effort. Even going back to when he played at Philadelphia, even when he went back to play Philly, I was just really impressed with his ability to really. They put the game on his back, and they throw for a bunch of yards and had an unbelievable amount of completions. So he's actually saying, Dak Prescott, he's kind of getting you a couple ways. 3rd and 14, he draws, picks up 16 yards. But not only that, not only just having the ability to run, going back to the Philadelphia game where we threw for 467 yards and a shootout in the 4th quarter. So I think you're talking about two elite competitors that are the best in those crunch time moments. I'm reading this, FYI, I'm reading this for the first time. I believe he may be the first person to say that. Maybe he's just blowing smoke up our ass. But he just called Dak and Zeke elite players, both of them. We all know Zeke is elite, a 2-time rushing champ in 3 years. But he just called our quarterback, a guy who a lot of you all said is a bum. Needs to be benched for Cooper Rush. Their production speak for itself, and you can see the defense, unbelievable team speed on all three levels. I think Coach Martinelli does such a great job with the defensive front. Lots of movements, lots of ability to create pressure with a four-man rush. Speed from Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith looks awesome. Playing with some suddenness and urgency. I think he's the kind of playing with some suddenness, some urgency. I think they're going back and forth between safety and corner. He's really Heath and Woods have been. I've really screwed it up. Then you can see their safeties with Heath and Woods having real productive players. Sean Lee, I don't know how healthy he'll be, but he's always been a guy, just from having been in that division. Yeah, so he's got a lot of praise for the Cowboys. He's not going to put up billboard material and say they suck, like basically Pete Carroll did when he was talking about our stadium and things. It's going to be a big matchup. But I still have this crazy feeling that we're going to see the Eagles again. That the Eagles... And it was fun watching with Philly 500. I got to get some of these clips because it was hilarious. But I got to tell you, sometimes the pieces just fall in place at the right time. And I feel like the pieces are falling in place for the Cowboys and that they're falling in place for the Eagles. And it's going to be a showdown. Well, I'm a little long-winded this morning, but you can understand because it's playoffs. And the Cowboys have one of four that they need out of the way. Let's see if we can get number 2. I'm Mark Holmes, and I want to thank you guys for being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I'll see you soon.